Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
All I gotta say is, who that? Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And want to say thank you, everyone that's tuning in right now. I know it's been a while, a few days since I did a show. For those that don't know, I just got back from Mississippi. My aunt, my great aunt, Miss Deborah Jones, she passed away last week, man. And be honest with y'all, man, just had a lot going on, a lot to process. And I'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But thank you all for the ones that reached out and send prayers to me and my family during this time. I really do appreciate that. But we are back here on the State of the Saints podcast to talk New Orleans Saints. On this edition, we will be talking about Saints quarterback Derek Carr and the recent developments that took place. And also, man, should the Saints have that buyer's remorse? Should the Saints regret even going after Derek Carr in the first place? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people had something to say about this when the story came out, and pretty sure everybody knows the story. Derek Carr has a shoulder injury, and the shoulder injury could cost him the entire 2025 season, which is a shot in the gut to every single Saints fan that probably thought that, the Saints may not be legit contenders, but at least they'll have some watchable football. And, man, there are a lot of people that may have some takes, some thoughts about this. But, I'm gonna just be honest, man. I'm just gonna be honest. Some people, they may have a certain take where, they'll probably see the glass half full, and not because, they really see it that way, but maybe they just want to play ball. I made a decision a long time ago. Do I want to be a man of the industry or the man of the people? And sometimes when you're trying to be a man or a person of the industry, sometimes you don't really tell people how you genuinely feel. But I got the luxury and benefit of doing that because I don't have to worry or care about what anybody thinks. But here's the reality, man. The Derek Carr signing was an absolute disaster. It was an absolute disaster. And I will go a little bit further. If this was any other organization, rather it was the Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, 49ers, Mickey Loomis would not have a job. I'm going to say that again. If this was any other organization, Mickey Loomis would not have a job. Mickey Loomis is a terrible general manager. I'm pretty sure at some point of time, he was really good at his job. I'm pretty sure he was. But it's pretty obvious that time has passed. That time has passed where he was a good general manager. The problem is the New Orleans Saints have a bunch of business-minded individuals up top that really don't know anything about football. Now, if you want to add some paint to the Superdome or put a cafeteria on airline, they're the people for you. But you only have one individual in there that's calling the shots at the top, and that is Mickey Loomis. So by getting rid of him, well, you wouldn't have anybody that really understands football operations. And also the fact that Mickey Loomis is in the will of the organization, Tom Benson left him in his will. It plays a huge role. This guy's a made man. He's not going anywhere. And basically, Saints fans have to suffer just like they did when the Saints hired Dennis Allen, which that was a mistake. But we're going to have to suffer. And we would have suffered even longer if Gail Benson didn't intervene and fire Dennis Allen, because Mickey Loomis wouldn't have done it. We know that Mickey Loomis still feels very highly about Dennis Allen. We know that. And we know that more than likely he would have paraded his non-coaching tail back here again in 2025 and have us subjected to more boring football, conjoined with a boring quarterback that's not going to win you anything in Derek Carr. Mickey Loomis should have been fired years ago. I can even go a little further that Mickey Loomis probably wouldn't even have a job if he didn't stumble across a coach that was a tyrant in Sean Payton, and a quarterback that was 6 foot tall with a huge chip on his shoulder named Drew Brees. It seems to me that those two individuals made Mickey Loomis better than what he actually was. Allow me to elaborate. Some of the signings that the New Orleans Saints made throughout the years, we can make an argument that if it wasn't for Sean Payton coaching and Drew Brees being a quarterback, probably would have been looked at how we look at some of these signings today. A lot of the imperfections of Mickey Loomis got covered up by those two individuals. And I'm starting to really, truly feel that way. Now, you're going to have some Saints fans out there trying to justify what Mickey Loomis is doing. They're going to try to tell you that you're not a real Saints fan if you're not looking at what's going on, and you got to have faith and you got to have hope. I just feel like those people are insane. Yes, I just said that. Those people are insane. Those individuals that'll tell you, oh, man, you so negative, man, I ain't watching your show no more. Oh, man, you ain't no real Saints fan, man, because a real Saints fan gonna stand in the trenches for the team. Oh, you ain't no real reporter. You don't have the real sources. Those are going to be those individuals. Those individuals that honestly think that people like myself care about what they think, because you can't do what I do, so sit back and watch the show. I know I'm talented. It is what it is. But all I'm saying is those individuals are going to make you feel like you're wrong for your takes and your assessment of the team. This team is a failure because of Mickey Loomis. And it probably would be in even worse shape if Drew Brees and Sean Payton didn't come through the door, which basically changes our minds and our feelings about how we see this team. Because some of you never really seen this team in this type of shape, or probably don't remember it. But as long as Mickey Loomis continues to be the leader when it comes to football operations, this team will fail unless another situation reoccurs like it did in 2006, where he found a coach that can be able to rise above ridiculous and boneheaded decisions made by this organization time and time again. The Derek Carr signing was a disaster. The Saints looked at Derek Carr as if he was the second coming of Joe Montana or Drew Brees. There's a reason why the Raiders sent his ass home. There's a reason why he was on the couch. And the Raiders would rather watch a backup quarterback fumble all over himself than to re-sign Derek Carr. The New Orleans Saints were out here whining and dining Derek Carr as if everybody and their mama wanted Derek Carr. Yes, they had a few teams that reached out to Derek Carr, wanted to bring him in and acquire his service. But what was that other team? Some people say, well, the Jets. The Jets were the team that wanted Derek Carr. They were willing to sign Derek Carr. Are you really, honestly, are you really sitting up here hanging your hat on the Jets? Signing Derek Carr is a reason why the New Orleans Saints should have really expedited the transaction. The Jets, just like the New Orleans Saints have been over the last couple of years, suck. With bad decisions up top, where you have a owner who basically is listening to his son when it comes to signing players, and they had opportunity to sign a player, but they didn't because that owner listened to his son and said that he had a low Madden rating. These are the decisions that are being made by that other team that everybody is attaching Derek Carr to. But the New Orleans Saints, we can't let him out of the building. Like they about to win multiple Super Bowls with a failing quarterback. Derek Carr is not going to win you anything. And the desperation of some of you Saints fans is just downright pathetic. Oh, if Derek Carr don't play, then what we going to do? What are we doing? Seriously, what has Derek Carr done for you to sit up here and be trying to argue with other Saints fans? We have set the bar so low that we are okay with winning 7 games versus winning 4 games. But guess what? No matter if you win 7, no matter if you win 4, you're still not in the playoffs. So what are we doing this for? Is it to put our own mind at ease? Is it the fact that we just want to sit down on Sunday and maybe the Saints lose by 3 instead of losing by 13? A loss is a loss. And this is why I've been telling people. All these people want to sit up here and talk about, well, Derek Carr gives the Saints a better chance to win. Win what? What are we winning? A game on Sunday that means absolutely nothing? Garbage time stats? Come on, guys. Come on. Win one for me. Win one. Please, man, set them up in field goal range. Is that where we at right now? If that's where you are, fine. But we need to get real. If we're talking about sustainable success, if we're talking about being a legit contender for years to come, you got to move on from this guy. And if Gayle Benson wants prosperity for years to come, number one, they better hope that the coach that they hired in Kellen Moore can be able to rise above what Mickey Loomis is doing, like Sean Payton and Drew Brees have done over the years, or she has to make a tough decision and telling Mickey Loomis, come upstairs with me, and hiring a general manager. Because make no mistake about it, this is another situation where if it does pan out with Kellen Moore, somebody has been praying for Mickey Loomis and he has found God's favor. Because we all know that Kellen Moore was not the Saints' first choice, regardless of how they want to present it to us. We know that there were other coaches that the Saints wanted before Kellen Moore. Miss me with the nonsense. They wanted Joe Brady. They wanted Cliff Kingsbury. They wanted Aaron Glenn before they wanted Kellen Moore. So if manna rains down from heaven in the form of Kellen Moore to help the New Orleans Saints navigate through Mickey Loomis's bad decisions, then great. But this is going to be more and more and more of the same thing. Until Gayle Benson gets rid of Mickey Loomis, tells Mickey Loomis to go upstairs and hire another general manager that can get the cap under control, where you're not just pushing and kicking the can down the road, then we're going to be dealing with the same situations over and over again. I don't care what you say. Like, this is a trend, okay? This isn't something like, oh, man, this bad decision right here, this is the reason I'm having this show. No, this has been a reoccurring thing. We're just realizing that the emperor the entire time had no clothes. Mickey Loomis is going to be the demise of the New Orleans Saints. Look, y'all can believe anything you want to. Don't listen to me. If you want fluff and want people to lie to you, I ain't the show for you. I ain't the show for you. This dude has made bad decision after bad decision. You can't just turn your eyes and say, oh, man, you don't know what you're talking about. Fine, whatever. Go find a podcast or a show or a writing where everybody say, oh, the Saints going to win 10 games. They're going to go to the playoffs every single year. They're going to go to the Super Bowl. Go find it. But right here, we're going to keep it 100. And the reality is, dude sucks as a general manager. Moving money around and finding ways to become cap compliant does not mean that you're a good general manager. Being able to compensate for ridiculous decisions or finding some levels of hope or tripping on a banana peel every now and then doesn't make you a good general manager. Dude is not a good general manager. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Derek Carr was a bad decision. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. What do the New Orleans Saints need to do? They need to find themselves their future quarterback. Rather, it's Spencer Rattler. I'm okay. I've said this before. I'm okay with Spencer Rattler. As a matter of fact, I feel like Spencer Rattler should have been the choice going into the season. I said this before. You need to cut your losses with Derek Carr. You need to allow Spencer Rattler the opportunities to be able to become your starting quarterback. If he doesn't work out, then guess what? Then next year in 2026, there are more quarterbacks coming out. If you don't want to draft a quarterback, there are more quarterbacks coming out. Nobody is evaluating Kellen Moore like they evaluated Sean Payton. Everybody knows that this man is coming into an organization with the cards stacked against him. So nobody is evaluating Kellen Moore like you would evaluate a team that's on the cusp of a Super Bowl. He's not being evaluated like Andy Reid. He's not being evaluated like Nick Sirianni. Everybody understands where the Saints are, except for the Saints. In their mind, in the organization, everybody looking at them like they're legit Super Bowl contenders. But the circles that I am around, the people that I talk to, and not just Saint fans, but around the NFL, don't look at the Saints that way. They look at them as a dysfunctional organization, despite the fact that they may not want people to think that way. Not dysfunction like, oh man, they don't know what the heck they're doing, but more dysfunction like, man, they need to get themselves together. Not like so much like, oh, it's bad. It's like just so bad over there. Like how they look at the Jets. But they still don't look at it like it's functional. I'm tired of beating around the bush, man. It's ridiculous. And as far as your boy Derek Carr, and then I'll get to the comments. Derek Carr robbed the Saints straight up. And, give credit to his agent. Give credit to his agent. Agent probably recommended that he hide out and, make sure that he ain't around and all that kind of stuff there, right? And, when it's time to cash in, oh, man, my right shoulder hurt. My left shoulder hurt. Look, if somebody told you that if you become injured, you can get $40 million. Wouldn't that injury that you sustained hurt a little bit more if you know that there's a $40 million price tag attached to it? My neck, my neck and my back for $40 million? I don't blame him. See, I don't blame Derek Carr. I don't blame his agent because his agent's job is to make sure that he maximizes Derek Carr's portfolio. And Derek Carr's job is to provide a service, which is quarterback, and get paid in the process. So talking about pay cuts and all that kind of stuff, and he could have did that. Yeah, he probably could have. But would you want to take a pay cut? No. It's so easy for us to count other people's bread. But when it's time to count our own bread, you get what I'm saying? So I don't blame him for that. I blame the New Orleans Saints. I blame the New Orleans Saints for signing him in the first place. I blame the New Orleans Saints for not taking a really close look at their organization, not looking at the fact that Drew Brees wasn't going to play forever. There was a time where Drew Brees told you on 2 different occasions that he was thinking about retirement, and you did absolutely nothing to try to come up with a succession plan. You probably did when it came to Teddy Bridgewater, and Teddy Bridgewater played his way out of New Orleans to Carolina to a $60 million deal. But still, that shouldn't have stopped you from trying to find that succession plan. You had opportunities to do so. And yes, hindsight is 20/20. Jordan Love in 2020 came out, but he came from Utah State, and some people are probably looking at, well, maybe it's the fact that he played at Utah State. The Jalen Hurts that we look at and revere today wasn't the Jalen Hurts people were evaluating coming out of the University of Oklahoma. I get all that, but at the same time, you got to be able to be bold and take a risk. And this organization takes risk, but they take ridiculous risk. Like going after a mid-major guy that nobody even heard of that had an injury history in college already, like Peyton Turner. Or the fact that you get somebody from a small school that nobody even heard of that you need Wikipedia, a treasure map, and a magnifying glass to find in Marcus Davenport. Or people that can't even see the field, like Isaiah Foskey. I just don't get it. But all I know is you got to take a risk. You got to take a chance. Trust your analysis, your evaluation, and follow suit. But Derek Carr, I don't even want to call him fool's gold, because fool's gold is when you don't know or recognize what something actually is. We know what Derek Carr was. At least most of us did. We knew that he was a starting quarterback, but wasn't going to win you anything of any significance. Well, not on his talents alone. And we knew that the New Orleans Saints had to go through a rebuild. So you basically signed a quarterback that is basically designed to thrive in a comfortable environment, which means veterans and young players and guys that can make people miss and all this other stuff. But instead, you made him look like and signed him like he was Patrick Mahomes or Drew Brees, which was a mistake. So once again, until they get rid of Mickey Loomis, they ain't winning jack. They ain't winning jack. And Derek Carr indeed was a mistake. If nobody else wants to admit that, and I see some people that are, but if you don't want to admit that, fine. Derek Carr was never the Saints guy. And by Saints, I mean the fans. He never really embraced the fan base. And a lot of people kind of read through this facade. Yeah, do I think he's a good person? Yes. I mean, spiritual man, family man, all that stuff, that's cool. But when it comes down to it, I know a politician when I see one. Let's go ahead and move on, man. Let's go ahead and move on. I'll go ahead and read some of these comments. Let's see. Loomis' gift and curse is he is too hands off, works for good coaches and failed with bad coaches. Carr was Dennis Allen's decision. Yeah, I mean, Carr was Dennis Allen's decision, but at the same time, Mickey Loomis signed off on him. Mickey Loomis signed off on him. See, this is what I'm talking like. Think about this, man. Do you think Howie Roseman would have signed off on Derek Carr? I don't think so. Like if Nick Sirianni was like, this is who I want as a quarterback, I don't see Howie Roseman signing off on it. Dennis Allen didn't have enough skins on the wall to be able to, like, to me, just to make that decision alone. I don't know if he made that decision alone or not, but I'm pretty sure it was mostly his decision. I mean, be that, that he was in Oakland as the head coach when Derek Carr was drafted. And also bringing on some of these coaches that were affiliated with the Raiders organization during the time he was there. So I don't know. That to me, is negligence. So yeah, it was his decision. I understand, like, giving coaches the opportunity to be able to sign their guys, but I don't know. When you look at it, like, it got to be within reason. What does Derek Carr actually want? What has he won? Like, where's those playoff appearances? Where's those countless moments where, it's like, man, we ain't have Derek Carr. I don't know about that. Yeah, probably a game that means absolutely nothing around week 16 when the Raiders are no longer in playoff contention. Spencer Rattler can really work, fix the O-line. I believe in Spencer Rattler. I believe that you should give him opportunity if you feel like he has taken steps forward, but you do not go into 2025 with just saying, okay, Spencer, this is your team. He hasn't earned it. Do I feel like he has the capabilities of earning it? Yeah, but he hasn't earned it yet. I mean, if you're basically bringing him in as or having him as your starting quarterback, you're just doing it on hope alone. He hasn't won a game, folks. I'm sorry. He hasn't won a game. So with that, you can't just say emphatically that he is the answer. He's not, until he proves to us that he is. He has the abilities, in my opinion, but not to a point where it should just be his. You should bring in somebody that can be able to compete for that starting position. If Spencer Rattler beats him out, then Spencer Rattler should be the starting quarterback, whether it's a seasoned veteran or a rookie in the draft. But you do not just say, oh, Spencer, this is your keys right here, man. It's your time to shine. Like I said, if he earns it, fine. But do not just say, oh, Spencer Rattler is our guy, and don't try to adjust. That's why you're in the situation you're in the first place. Too top heavy. Oh, I count on this guy. I believe in this guy here. And then if that guy gets hurt or it don't pan out, then where's the secondary plan? Where, you know what I'm saying? Where's the contingency plan? Where's that? There is none. The plan was to make Rattler look bad. I don't know if that was I don't know if that was the plan or not. I'm pretty sure if you look at it, you know, I knew for a fact that he wasn't ready. I think it had more to do. I think the Saints realized that their season was going sideways, and they realized they was reading the pulse of the Who Dat Nation, and they knew that Spencer Rattler. This is why I got a problem with Derek Carr. This is the reason why. This is the reason why I have a problem with him. Okay. Now, some people would say, oh, well, the injuries are different. But here's the thing. When Jameis Winston was the backup quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, you can make an argument that Derek Carr came back from injuries that, honestly, a person should have set out and shouldn't have played at all. My question is, why did he try to fight so desperately to try to come back and play? That's number one. The reason why is he looked at, as much as people want to talk about Jameis Winston, as much as people want to criticize him, oh, he throwing interception, crab legs, oh, man, he ain't no real good quarterback. As much as you want to criticize him, you know that the man comes with excitement. You know that he is an actual threat to you. It played a role in his decisions to start. I'm going to say that again. It played a role in his decisions to start in his first year with the Saints. You know the reason why he felt like he can sit back and chill in his second year? Think about this, folks. For people that just think that I'm crazy, I'm going to use this as an example. If somebody had windows, right, and they said a hurricane was coming, and you had no boards to hang on your windows, right, and the hurricane comes through, shatters all of your windows, and you come back, all your windows are shattered. Next year, when another hurricane comes through, what are you going to do? More than likely, you're going to buy those boards to board up your window, right? So the windows, again, won't shatter out. I say that to say this. Derek Carr showed you that he had there's a possibility that he can be injured. Wouldn't you make sure that you had at least a veteran quarterback that can keep things afloat for the next season, just in case? Derek Carr felt he could miss games in 2024 because he didn't look at Spencer Rattler. He didn't look at Jake Haener as a threat. He looked at it like, if I get hurt, those guys aren't going to be good enough to be able to make fans feel as if they are better than me. Yes, I just said that. This guy was concussed, twice? Shoulder injury, which he even admitted that he shouldn't have played. The question is, why did you play? Why would you hold your team back and instead of sitting on the bench and allowing a able-bodied quarterback to come in to have throws and make throws that you couldn't make? Why would you go out there knowing that you had a bum arm, knowing that you was limited? Because you looked at Jameis Winston as a threat. Why is it that you can sit down and miss weeks and upon weeks at a time in 2024? It's because Spencer Rattler wasn't ready for prime time, and neither was Jake Haener. Look, even before that, before Spencer Rattler even got to the team, look at the quarterback depth chart that they had going into the NFL draft. They had Nathan Peterman. No disrespect to Nate, but he is not looked at as a good quarterback. And you had Jake Haener. Which one of those individuals would you look at and say, man, that person really got a chance to get the starting job over Derek Carr? None of them. The Saints made their quarterback room as quarterback friendly for Derek Carr as possible. Jameis Winston was looked at as a fan favorite, a popular guy among Saints fans, and a lot of the Saints fans would have rather Jameis Winston beat a starting quarterback over Derek Carr, and Derek Carr knew that. And that played a role in him going out there being limited. And that's the reason why a lot of Saints fans look at Derek Carr the way that they do. That's the reason why some Saints fans look at him as a phony. I'm just being real. That's why they look at him the way they do, because it's about self-preservation over the team. But he tries to market himself like he's a team first guy. That's the problem. It don't matter about what I think. I'm just telling you what the Who Dat Nation feels. And the Who Dat Nation feels that Derek Carr is a phony. And there was a problem in the locker room because people felt like he was getting preferential treatment. So don't tell me that the locker room felt that he was getting preferential treatment. But when we make theories like I just alluded to, oh, I'm way out in left field. No. Because we all can feel pressure. That person that's probably breathing down our neck at our job, looking to take our position. We got to step it up. Do you want to allow that individual breathing down your neck to take that position? No, I'm about to turn the freak up if you cared about your position. That's the reason why Saints fans feel the way they do about Derek Carr. You look at the Rams situation and they traded for Matthew Stafford, plug him in and won a Super Bowl. Build your roster first. I agree. I'm going to scroll down a little bit because I said a lot. Brent, thank you so much for being here, man. Says Kyle Trask outplayed Baker Mayfield in the 2023 training camp, but Baker Mayfield brings in more money than Trask. But, and when you look at Baker Mayfield was a starter. Baker Mayfield was a guy that they actually believed in. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. See, a lot of things that go on behind the scenes versus like what we actually see. Oh, come on out. I got tickets to look at them. Oh, such and such made plays. This other person can't. But that might play a role, but there's also that potential and certain things that we may not see. See, you might see the practice that happened on Monday, but what about those other practices that may be indoors that people like the reporters don't even see? I think those type of things play a role. And also, if you look at Kyle Trask and you look at Baker Mayfield now, man, come on, man, that was a really good decision in the end. So they decided to go with Baker Mayfield over Kyle Trask, but that was a really good decision. Since Baker Mayfield has been in the NFC South, the starting quarterback of the Buccaneers, they haven't lost the division since. So they know what they're doing. I always thought that Derek Carr signing was a bad idea. I remember the Saints fans being excited about it. Look, I was one of those people that was excited about it. Here's the thing. We have a tendency of feeling as if we make a point, and let's just say that point gets proven wrong, then, I got to stand on that point. No. Because at one time, go back to the beginning. I don't hide anything. See, people like, well, you said this. Yeah, I did. I sure did. But that doesn't mean that throughout the course of time, you can't change your mind. See, people try to hang on to things that you say. And then if you get proven wrong, then all of a sudden you said this. But there's always those points where you actually get right, but they never seem to make it to the social media feeds. They never seem to make it to your email. They never seem to make it underneath your comments. So you're going to get, in this world, you're going to get things right. You're going to get things wrong. Like I said, when it comes to Derek Carr, I was one of those people because I looked at his completion percentage. I looked at some of the games that he played, and I felt, I think he can be able to provide something to the New Orleans Saints. But we also have to look at the fact that if we're following one particular team, although we may watch that team consistently, we don't know the ins and outs of that particular organization like we do the Saints. I watch a lot of football. I cover Coastal Carolina. But I would be lying to you if I told you that I know more about Coastal Carolina football than Saints football. I watch Buffalo Bills every Sunday for the most part. They play on prime time, or they always like the American game of the week. But if you was to tell me what's the biggest storylines coming out of Buffalo, if it's like mainstream, I probably wouldn't know. So there's always going to be situations that slide through the cracks. Or, you probably read something or see something, identify a certain player and feel like, oh man, he signed with us. Oh, that's cool. But there are certain things that organization may know about that player that if that player gets signed by another team, that other team don't know. There's a reason why when the Saints sign a certain player that comes from a team, what do I normally do? I bring in somebody that is familiar with that player on the previous team because they know certain things that I don't. Long story short, you have a right to change your mind. I look at Derek Carr. I see the way that he operates. I see how the Saints look with him, without him, and I come to the conclusion that they can do better. Maybe it probably won't be next year, but down the line, you can set yourself up for continual success by moving on from this guy. Because to me, I don't feel like you're going to win anything. You'll probably win a game, make you feel good going into Monday, but not anything of any significance, not just with him alone. Derek Carr can go to a team that's already established and win some football games because he doesn't have to be that quarterback helping the team win week after week. But you need a really good infrastructure around him, which the New Orleans Saints don't have. So instead of you trying to convince the Saints fans that, hey, this guy is the future, or this guy can win you something, cut your losses. Because we all can see it. So, like I said, it's okay. We all make assessments and takes about certain players and certain things. And sometimes we get them right. Sometimes we get them wrong. And in the case of Derek Carr, I can really, truly say, without a shadow of a doubt, I got it wrong when it came to, I feel that he could possibly be the answer to the New Orleans Saints. When it comes to providing stability, that ain't happening. Maybe a year accompanied by some other things like a running game, you know what I'm saying? Some wide receivers that can get yards after the catch and a defense that get the quarterback on the ground consistently, but not because of him alone. And it's just time for us to realize that. And the way the Saints have been operating, we know that it's just a losing battle because they are not structuring the team around Derek Carr's limitations. And when you're doing that, then you're just setting yourself up for failure. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, thinking it was more the Raiders' fault than his. But now it was a mixture of both. Nah, I'm not standing on that point if I was wrong. Boy, I'm playing Madden franchise right now, and 8 quarterbacks I thought was the one traded for picks now. Yeah, I mean, look, we have a right to change our mind. There's not a time that goes by. See, people have a tendency of conjoining takes with credibility. Like we all are guessing it, spitballing it, so to speak. There are times where you probably have somebody that's close to the situation that may provide you information. But we're all basically just kind of spitballing, giving our assessments. Like I just don't understand like how people are like quick to dismiss certain people. Like we're all doing it. We're all doing that. We evaluate the situation and we come and we give our opinions based on it. So I mean, you're going to get them right, you're going to get them wrong. But like I said, you would like let's take me away from it. I'm pretty sure there are times where you probably post something or said something and it end up coming into fruition. Crickets. Nobody says anything, right? But then all of a sudden, like you get it wrong, or you say something and you stand on it or feel very confidently about it. Somebody pulling up something you said 6 months ago that wasn't right. Oh, he don't know what he's talking about because, but like I said, people always are going to do that. People always going to do that. But, I just say a person has a right to change their mind. And I changed my mind about Derek Carr. Like I said, if you go back and watch, I'm an open book. Go back and check out the archives. I'm pretty sure I got it wrong. I'm pretty sure I got it wrong, you know what I'm saying, a lot. I've done 1,700 episodes of the State of the Saints podcast. 1,700 videos you will find on this channel. But I guarantee you there's some write-up in there somewhere. So that's why it doesn't matter to me that you pulling up old tweets. People tell me all the time, oh, you're nobody, right? All I am is just a podcaster. They'll say that, but when I pop my ass up at the combine, crickets. When I pop myself up at the Senior Bowl, crickets. I must be doing something if I'm finding myself in these situations. I must be doing something right if well-respected individuals that cover the NFL show up on my show. But it's always crickets. It's crickets during that time. Like I said, man, you can't sit up here and worry about what people think. Keep doing you, keep looking and assessing the situation. You're gonna get something right, you're gonna get something wrong. But that shouldn't stop you from having an opinion and thought about certain situations. Just as Justin Coleman. David, thank you very much for the $5. Said that car is already wrecked before the season started. Take him, pull apart, and move on. And Boot Camp Kennels, thank you very much for the $9.99. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, man, look. Yeah, man, just cut your losses. Just cut your losses. Stay at the Saints podcast. Congratulations on 12,000 subscribers. Jerry, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. 1,700 videos. That's some awesome stories. Compatibility. Yeah. Capabilities. Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. We done a lot of shows over the years, man. And like I said, man, I'm just appreciative of people that's been here, the new people that found the channel, however you found it. Yeah, I appreciate it. Hopefully you will continue to rock with us. I say, man, we this is not just blame this person, blame that person. Like we don't just rock like that if you're new, but we also going to keep it 100. We also are going to be real about what the situation is and what's going on here. That's what we're going to do. Say we should have trade Lance for a fourth rounder. We should have took Trey Lance for a fourth rounder. Yeah, that's another person. Like honestly, that's another person I thought about. Like I thought would end up being okay, for the Saints. Look, I'm gonna tell you all the things that I've said okay, and they end up coming true. I'm gonna tell you the things I got wrong. Trey Lance was one. I mean, but also mentioned Trey Hendrickson gonna end up being pretty good, and the Saints gonna regret not letting him go. So, like I said, for every right take that you may have, you're gonna have some wrong ones too. But I think it's fair to say that the Derek Carr experiment was a disaster and is a disaster. I was wrong about Carr too. Saints have to play play petty and get back with Carr. Well, not necessarily. But, you basically set yourself up for hardship. Like, for example, okay, the Saints restructured Derek Carr's contract to say, $30 million in cap space. But, let's just say in 2026, okay, they release him. Like if he's a post June 1 or something, right? They'll say $19.2 million, but they also push $40 million to 2027, right? So, man, you basically just continuing to kick the can down the road. Like, man, like this is just terrible practices. Like, call it for what it is, man. Like, people just want to sit up here like, you can't avoid the obvious, okay? A person is not being negative or hating when they're calling out the obvious. These are bad practices. Now, if they end up working, right? If you're doing this and they end up working, then nobody's going to say anything. They've been doing this for years. Why? Because they had a really good coach in Peyton and a really good quarterback. They can compensate for these decisions because no matter who you put out there, those two individuals are going to make them look like something. Think about how many role players that we hold near and dear to this organization that went other places and looked like slow. Let's look at Robert Meacham. Robert Meacham was the Saints down the field threat, wide receiver screen, really good blocking wide receiver on the outside. King of the flea flicker touchdown. He leaves the New Orleans Saints, gets a contract with the San Diego Chargers. Anybody remember what Robert Meacham did with the San Diego Chargers? Anybody? Did nothing. Came back to the Saints. Was salvageable for at least 2 or 3 more seasons. Lance Moore. Everybody loves Lance Moore. I love Lance Moore. You love Lance Moore. Lance Moore was a cornerstone player with the New Orleans Saints. Always can count on one of the best slot receivers in the NFC South to go out there and ball the hell out. One of the greatest catches in Super Bowl history that he made with that 2-point conversion. Lance Moore went to the Detroit Lions and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Can somebody please tell me what Lance Moore did with those two organizations? He wasn't able to replicate what he did with the Saints. I say that to say this. No matter what they signed, Sean Payton, Drew Brees made it work. They were this organization's MacGyver. They took what you had and made something out of it. You don't have that. So right now you're just seeing incompetence on full display. And you don't have somebody out there to be able to compensate for the incompetence. That is what is going on here. These practices have been going on throughout the course of time, but we just had ways to mask them. You don't now. So maybe it's just time for us to realize, he's not a good general manager anymore. If he probably was at one time. But right now it just seemed like, you just out here trying to 7-Eleven that joint. Hoping that you don't crap out, Doc, thank you very much for the $4.99. Says the common denominator in all of this foolishness is Loomis. As long as he's the GM, we will not succeed. That's the conclusion I'm starting to draw. That's the conclusion I'm starting to draw. I feel that way. Like we want to look at like the decisions and they did this, they did that. Man, look, bruh, how many times a person got to slap you in the face in order for you to realize that this person is intentionally trying to hurt you? Organization constantly is slapping the fan base in the face and making us feel like we're not well within our rights to criticize this organization. Yes, There are things about football operations as fans, as onlookers, and people around the team, but not inside the organization or not privy to. But don't sit up here and question a person just because they may not know what a split formation is, or they don't know a 3-3-4 from a 4-3. Like, they may not know these things. They may not know who the X and who the Y is, right? They may not know that. They may not know about the F or anything like that, right? But what they know what bad football looks like. They know what bad football looks like. They know what they are stomaching every single week going into the Superdome doesn't resemble what happened in the past. Like, you can't alienate your fan base, and you can't put people out there making them feel bad about questioning bad decisions. You can say whatever you want. The Saints ain't made. I'm going to go country with it. The Saints ain't made the playoffs in 4 seasons. Justify that. You can't. You can't. You can't say, just because the results aren't what we want doesn't mean we're doing something wrong. Yes, it does. You had 4 seasons for the results to resemble something of success, and they have not. So you're not trending in the right direction. If you were in the playoffs, let's just say 3 out of the last 4 seasons, and this season you didn't make the playoffs, then you can maybe make that statement. But when you make a statement like that and you ain't made the playoffs in 4 seasons, ain't nobody buying that but you. And it makes you look even more incompetent. So nobody is saying to you, go out here and say, oh my God, man, we suck. Oh, we're terrible. We'll never get back to playoff content. Ain't nobody saying that. But when you have an owner like Haslett, right? Like Haslett with the Browns, who went on record and said that the signing of Deshaun Watson was a mistake. That is what the owner of the team said. Now, you can talk about the Cleveland Browns all you want to. You can say, oh, man, they've been dysfunctional. I don't know how long. Like Jimmy Haslett, like this guy's a terrible owner. You this, that, and the third. But the fact that man was willing to admit his failure as an owner and his organizational failures, I have nothing but respect for him. What I don't respect is somebody telling me that it's raining outside and I look out the window and not a cloud is in the sky. That's what I can't accept. That's what Saints fans can't accept. You can't gaslight these Saints fans. These people are too loyal to this organization. Saints fans live and die by this organization. Their moods are dictated by the successes and failures of this organization, and has been since I was a kid. I'm 38 years old now. The mood of the city changes when the Saints win. Crime goes down in the city when the Saints win. People are happier when the Saints win. When you have those type of situations going on, when you're conjoined to an organization like that, you can't lie to these people. You can't fake the funk in front of them. You can't gaslight them. And that's the problem. If he would have came out and said, there are some things that we did wrong and it's on me, I got to fix this organization. The Saints fans deserve a better product. If you said something like that, it's not just saying, oh man, we're terrible, we suck, but it's making the fans understand that you understand the conditions of this team, so we gonna rock with you. Saints fans don't like disloyalty, and they don't like their intelligence question. If you do any of those 2 things, they won't forgive you. And it's going to take a plethora of goodwill in order to get back in their good graces. But when you show the organization, show the fans any type of disloyalty or question their intelligence in any way, they ain't rocking with you. So that's the way it is. I'm going to take a few more, then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Says, stop being afraid of rebuilding. Competent teams have rebuilt in 2 years or less. Sarah, I agree. You can't be afraid to acknowledge what is going on. Goes back to what I just said. If you acknowledge what is going on, you tell people and give an honest assessment, no pun intended, of the state of the Saints. No, there will be a bunch of people that be willing to understand because you made them know that you see what's going on and you're trying to fix it. But when you sit up here and try to blame journalists and blame fans and social media say this and only like kind of downgrade people and make yourself look like you up here and people down here for, I understand football operations. I understand what's going on behind the scenes. You may do. You may understand that, but at the end of the day, people know what bad football looks like. And you can't fake that. If you miss the playoffs, you can't fake that. If you're losing games to competitive teams that have been to the playoffs or knocking on the door of the playoffs and you beating up lowly teams, people see that. You can't lie to people, man. You can't fake the funk, man. What's up, buddy?
It's almost time for my haircut.
No, not yet. No, your haircut tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
Oh.
It's tomorrow. Daddy got the days mixed up. All right. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I had the days mixed up. He was talking about his haircut. So haircut actually tomorrow. So he was just reminding me about that. Let's see. 2 words. That's my son, by the way, for those that don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably knew that. 2 worst contracts in pro sports: Deshaun Watson in Cleveland in the NFL and Bradley Beal in Phoenix in the NBA. Yeah, those are some pretty bad contracts. I'm pretty sure we can think of some more that was pretty bad. I mean, from a contractual standpoint, when it came to Ricky Williams' contract was pretty terrible. The Saints have failed us for a long time, scared to make moves and keep our team mediocre. Too much loyalty in places where, you got to make business decisions. And I get it, man, because these are some great people. But if you're operating based on emotion versus business, like, you're probably going to end up hurting yourself in the end. And, I just feel like, I don't even say I feel like they make bad decisions. They hold on to players too long. And I'm not saying, these players can't play, but they hold on to them too long. And maybe they just need to think about turning a page. I'm not going to say I feel like, because this is how I feel. And this is what it is. You miss the playoffs 4 years, you ain't going in the right direction. You hire a coach that has an 8-28 record and think that he's going to end up being Chuck Noll and Don Shula. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I can't even say I feel. TJ, I just made a special short video for you after your milestone reach. I appreciate that, Jared. Thank you, man. Shout out to Big Six, aka Pac-Man. Yeah, yeah, he had his first T-ball game yesterday. Did a good job, man. He worked really hard out there, man. I was proud of him. Atlanta mad and a bad contract with Kirk Cousins. They have to eat. Yeah, they got to eat it. I mean, Saints gonna have to eat this contract with Derek Carr. But I want to also mention this. I know there's been talk about Aaron Rodgers coming to the Saints. Come on, man. Come on. For what? You're not close to winning anything. Like you'll win some games because Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. He will win you games. He has a better chance of winning you football games than Derek Carr will. But you're still looking at a 40-plus-year-old quarterback. And God bless Drew Brees. God bless Tom Brady. But and also, who's another quarterback I just think about? I guess you could say John Elway. I think he was maybe 39 or 40 when he retired. We have a tendency of looking at certain quarterbacks and feeling like now that's the new standard. It's the reason why Tom Brady is looked at the way that he is, for him to be playing well into his 40s and still playing at a high level. Drew Brees. Those guys are what you call outliers. They're outliers. So just because they did it doesn't mean that Aaron Rodgers could do it. Doesn't mean that a Matt Ryan could have done it. It doesn't mean that a Kirk Cousins can do it. Like 36, 37 years old is ancient in the NFL. When you're, I don't care what any position that you're playing in. Any position. Yeah, Peyton Manning. Thank you, Cap. Those are outliers. See, we've convinced ourselves through Monday Morning Quarterback and the absolute standard of quarterback play that everybody can do what those guys are doing, but they can't. When you get around 35, 36 years old, you're going to fall off more times than not. You have quarterbacks that will be able to play a little bit longer, but there's only going to be a handful of them that succeed. But I'm probably going to piss somebody else saying this. Excuse me. I apologize for using that word, but it is what it is. It's amazing to me how you have these Saints fans out here clamoring for Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he can help us win. He can help us win. But then turn around and say, oh, Shedeur Sanders, oh, his personality, his energy that he comes with, I don't think that'll mesh with the team. Who comes with more bad energy than Aaron Rodgers? Who is looked at more of a diva than Aaron Rodgers? So if we're talking about somebody, I don't know, big personality, might throw people under the bus, all these different things, right? Why is it that we look past Aaron Rodgers? Oh, Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he be able to do something. We can look past that, but you will sit up here and send me direct messages and post under my page. Oh, I don't want Shedeur Sanders. Nah, he's just like his daddy. Aaron Rodgers is a diva. Everybody knows that Aaron Rodgers is a diva, but nobody want to talk about that though. But then they'll sit up there and tell me that, oh, it ain't about football in some cases when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. It's all about football. It's not about anything else other than football. Man, knock it off. Knock it off. Knock it off. We all know that in some cases, some, you got to say some because people just like try to group everybody into something. So you got to say some. I got to put emphasis on that. Some, because some people lack comprehension. Some individuals. It is more about other things than football when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. And there's that old saying, a hit dog may holler. And some people said to me, oh, you're going to lose people. I'm going to unfollow you because you say this. I just want to say, if I offended you in any way, I apologize for absolutely nothing. I apologize for absolutely nothing. I stand on business what I said about my take about Shedeur Sanders. Hit dogs holler. Period. If I'm not talking about you, you're going to move on. I'm not going to make a I have a dream speech. I'm not going to make the Gettysburg Address about how I feel, how I genuinely, what you really meant. No, I stepped on your toes and you don't want to admit it. I apologize for absolutely nothing. If you evaluate, I'll give you an example. This weekend, I saw my brother. Shouts out to my big brother, EJ. I asked him about Shedeur Sanders. He said he don't know. I don't think the Saints need to draft him. This is what my older brother said. He said his pocket awareness. He questions that. I said this. If that is your assessment, I ain't got no problem with you. If you're white, Hispanic, black, and that's your assessment. You basically watched this man play, and you came to that conclusion, and that is the reason why, then guess what? I'm not talking about you. You evaluated a football player, and you feel like he's not best for the team. Now, if you're on the other side of the fence, then yes, I am talking about you. And I am not apologetic about it. Hit dogs holler. And like my grandfather often said when he is in a pulpit, if I preach on chicken thieves, the only person gonna get mad is the chicken thief. So some of y'all have feathers in your back pocket and don't want to admit it. Let me go ahead and move on. Preach Reverend TJ, that's what I'm talking about. They come up with more excuses not to draft than any worse quarterback than him. I like Shedeur Sanders. I think that he will be a good fit in New Orleans. I think his personality will coincide with Saints fans, because who is more cockier than a Saints fan when a team is winning? Seriously, any team, the Pelicans, Saints, who is more cocky than a Saints fan when a team is winning? If he gets drafted by the Saints and it works, it will be hand in glove. But I'm just one guy. I'm actually more high on Dart, but I believe we will draft Shedeur. Look, and that's okay. That's okay. If we're talking football, we talking X's and O's. Like, you don't have to feel bad about that. If you're talking X's and O's, honestly, feeling bad wouldn't even cross your mind. It wouldn't even cross your mind, like, because you're evaluating football. If you feel like Jackson Dart is better than Shedeur Sanders based on football assessment, cool. Any other quarterback coming out, Quinn Ewers, quarterback out of Louisville, like any one of them. If you felt that way, that's cool. If you like, okay, let me see what everybody talking about when it comes to Shedeur. Let me see what they talking about with Jackson Dart. Let me see what Quinn Ewers. Like, if you just basically just watching that and getting a nice sample size of all the quarterbacks and you're seeing certain situations and you come to that conclusion, fine. But miss me with the ones that only watch things that just they feel like makes them feel more validated in their argument, and turn a blind eye to anybody that thinks any way differently, which seems like a constant thing in modern society. You can build an infrastructure around you to believe anything that you want to believe. If you're doing that, then don't talk to me about football. Let's see. They even saying the kid played against bad conference teams. That's what made his numbers look good. Like, wow, y'all just throwing anything in the air. Another person says, sad thing is, if you draft Sanders and he is better than Mahomes, the Saints are still the Saints with 26 of the worst players in the NFL. Well, look, if he comes in and he can make plays, people around him will get better. The team needs a personality boost. Strong safety has a swag that can excite a fan base. I think any good player that comes in that you need will excite the fan base. That somebody that is one of the best, which if you have the 9th pick, you can get one of the best players this draft class has to offer. If we don't draft a quarterback, we know where Mickey stands, and he knows if we draft Shedeur, he got to deal with his dad and all the publicity. Also, sorry for your loss, TJ. I appreciate that, Eric. Thank you for that. And I do think that plays a role. That plays a role. The Saints, it seems like the Saints have a type. They have a type. They have a guy that, they want that humanitarian. They want that guy in the locker room that's not going to make waves, which I can understand. But you need some dogs in your locker room. You may need somebody that has a screw loose. But that's what guys like Demario Davis and Cam Jordan and Tyrann Mathieu, those kind of guys are for. That's what they're for. They're the ones that's supposed to police the locker room. Coaches don't police the locker room. The players do. So that shouldn't matter because you know that you have a really good infrastructure, which you do. But, you can't be afraid of that. You know why the Eagles find themselves in playoff contention, Super Bowl contention over the last couple of years? Because they're willing to take that risk. They're willing to sign a C.J. Gardner-Johnson and deal with his personality. They're willing to draft a Jalen Carter and deal with his personality. They're willing to do that because they know that they got some guys in the locker room that can be able to keep these guys focused. But I don't know. I mean, outside media are going to want to come into the locker room, which, is the case. Yes, it is. It is the case. They don't like outside media constantly being around the team. I've heard that from several national reporters, and I know personally. So as long as they can keep it like that, they good. But that's the problem. 74% passer rating, TJ. No O-line, no run game under pressure at all times. 74%, 4,100 yards. Let's see. I bet Olave. I'm trying to pull this up. Freezing up. It said, I bet Olave wouldn't mind catching passes from Shadur or any other quarterback of that matter. Will Sanders still be there at 9? He might be, he might not. I mean, all these draft boards are just you just guessing at the end of the day. Like, you don't know. You don't know. You kind of just reading the pulse and how teams are making their decisions, and you base your decision on what the team has included or what they don't have. Sub TJ and my Who Dat family. What's going on, man? Appreciate you for being here. But my final thought, before I get into that, I know that the Saints, they had their offseason workouts and seen the videos. It was good to see the players that, dealt with injuries last season, guys like Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave, all those players showing up and seeing them work out without, any limitations. So that's good, man. I also feel like, adding a new head coach and feeling like you have something to prove to him plays a role. Also, I found it very interesting that we didn't see your boy Derek Carr. If he was there, then I ain't see him. But this is also a great opportunity for Spencer Rattler to be able to get some first team reps and, and be around the team. And he came in early. There was a video of him practicing at the Saints facility a couple of days before the team, showed up at the facility for the offseason workout. So I think that's a great thing. But once again, I don't think that the Saints need to stop and just have this quarterback room the way that it is going into the season. You got to be able to have guys that can compete against one another so you can have the best guy. And also, I don't feel like the New Orleans Saints would be showing up to all these pro days and bringing all of these quarterbacks in if they're not going to draft one of them. I think it's a matter of if they, when they're going to draft them, first round, second round. Yeah, that's what it all just comes down to. But I think I'd be shocked if the Saints don't draft a quarterback. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I really do appreciate it once again. Thank you to everybody that has been supporting this podcast. Rather it's day one or day 1001. I really do appreciate it. If you stumble across this podcast on a social media platform, YouTube or X or any other social media platform, I thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we made a subscriber out of you, a avid watcher out of you. You can subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. Shouts out to everybody that donated to the show. Thank you. You can be doing something else and just investing in this podcast. It means a lot to me. I really do appreciate that. And also those that invest their time constantly in this podcast. Every time I put out a video, you watch it, rather you watch it live or after the show is all said and done. I really do appreciate that. You can follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. Also, check out tonight, NFC South Roundtable at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're back with a mock draft episode. I'm also going to be a part of a special panel on Thursday with Bleacher Report, a special Bleacher Report live special that will be airing on the Bleacher Report on the channel, on the website. So I'm excited about that. Talking New Orleans Saints. That's going to be from 4 p.m. Eastern to 7. So make sure that you check that out. And also Wednesday, Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones will be at a special time, 6 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. All right, so make sure that y'all check that out. And we'll be back this week with more episodes of the State of the Saints podcast. And again, thank you to everybody that reached out to me and my family. My aunt, Miss Deborah Jones, passed away last week. It was a shock to a lot of us. She was a wonderful woman. She was like a mother to me, man. I spent so much time, at her house, after church, her son, me and him are like brothers. I used to spend a lot of time at their home. She was a great cook and just a great person, man. And, she wasn't a loud, boisterous person. She was, quiet by nature, but man, she was a great cook and she was very wrapped up in her faith, man. So I'm going to miss her. And so I'm dedicating this show to my Aunt Deborah. And as we leave out of here, got a special tribute and want to say that I love her very much, man. And thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. And until next time, all I got to say is, who dat?